welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Well, folks, greatness in a short period of time, right? When they talk about LeBron's longevity and him doing this and him doing that and putting up all these longevity stats, you know, I got to think about not longevity, but greatness from other players in a shorter span of time. You know, when we talk about the Magic Johnsons, how he was able to dominate in such a short period of time, folks, it's crazy. When we talk about the Larry Bird, how he was able to dominate his era in a short period of time. What about Michael Jordan? Was able to dominate his era, really, I think, in the shortest period of time. Let's think about Bill Russell. Was able to dominate in a shorter period of time. Guys like Wilt Chamberlain, able to be dominant in a short period of time. And I know, 11, 13 years may not be a long time. I mean, it may seem like a long time, but when we're talking about LeBron James, you guys are talking about 22 damn seasons. And now him wanting to play 23, 24. No, folks. Those guys I just mentioned, they were able to win all these championships, statistical titles, and be dominant forces on the court. Sometimes we talk about Kobe being the most skilled player of all time. And I remember at an interview with Kobe Bryant, I think it was one of his first championships in LA. And he would get interviewed, and he said the greatest player of all time. He said it was Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, does Kobe know basketball? Does Kobe know basketball? To him, I think he was doing a pickup game or something, but I don't know where he was playing at. He was just playing one of them pickup games and talking trash. And he said, when you say the greatest of all time, I forget what order he had him in, but I think he said him, Wilt, and Michael. Yeah. He said, say it again. Me, Wilt, and Michael. Yeah. But he said, say it in order. So I forget which ones he said it. It really doesn't matter which ones you put in order, folks. It really don't matter. Yeah, so Kobe Bryant wasn't dumb. I mean, he knew basketball. It was earlier in his career, but the man knew basketball. I mean, some people are just idiots. They think because you have a ball in your hand, you could just score. Because you're an NBA player, folks. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. If that was the case, all these NBA players will be on Mount Rushmore, or be Hall of Famers, or be top 75, or all this stuff, folks. It does not work like that. It's just like you're at a job, and you'll always see who's the best people at the job. That's just how it is, folks. That's just how it is. I mean, a lot of people are just good at a job, and some people are great. I mean, I can say that at my job. I'm one of the greatest ever to do it. I'm one of the greatest ever. And to me, I think I'm like, from what I've seen at my job, and I've seen, in 23 years, people come and go, people come and go. And I've seen the good people and the great people. And I can say I'm top 3 at doing this. I can mention some names. I haven't worked with everybody in the industry as far as the competitors, but I've worked around the business at other different competitors, and I just haven't seen nobody better than me. When people mention my name around the industry, they know. They know I'm the best, or top 3. It ain't no comparison, folks. It ain't no comparison. Now, I'm not trying to blow up my head, but back to these guys. These guys are wow. I mean, all this greatness in a short time, with championships and statistical titles, and the best at their position in a short period of time. These guys, they get to play 15, 20 years and stuff like that, and they still are considered maybe the greatest at their position. I think so. They're in my all-time starting 5. Who would say the all-time starting 5 was? I think Michael, Magic, Larry Bird, Wilt, and of course Tim Duncan. I love Charles Barkley. I love Karl Malone, but I got to go with Tim Duncan because they Charles Barkley and Karl Malone might be a tad bit better on offense, but they damn short ain't better on defense. So they're not better than Tim Duncan in passing, defending. They're both suspect free throw shooters, all of them. Just the overall fundamentals. I got to put Tim Duncan at that power forward. So Michael, Magic, Bird at the small forward, Wilt at the center, and of course, yeah, Tim Duncan at the power forward. Now, if you put Barkley or you put, if you put Malone, I'm not going to argue with that. But I mean, we got to look at it, folks. Tim Duncan won a championship in '99. Yes, he had David Robinson, but after David Robinson retired, he pretty much owned the 2000s in the beginning after Kobe and Shaq broke up. And if I'm not mistaken, no, it wasn't the Spurs who broke that up. But at any rate, yeah, they went on a run right there in the early 2000s, man. It ain't like he really had David Robinson in those early 2000s as far as when they was winning championships. He had people like Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker. Not that they weren't great, but he didn't have a big time top 75 player. He was winning 2003, 2005, and 2007. He didn't have no top 75 player. Who he had? Now, that's just my all-time starter five right there. To me, those are the greatest players at each position. And Charles Barkley even tells you, to him, he thinks Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward of all time. He does. So it's no knock on Charles. I mean, I could have, Karl Malone or Charles Barkley coming off the bench. But, yeah, just back to these guys in a short period of time, being dominant like that. And when we look at LeBron James, he just, how could you put him in front of any of those guys? Some guys played longer. I'm not trying to say because you played longer, you can't be up there. Kareem played for a long damn time. I think Tim Duncan played for a hot minute. What did Tim Duncan play for? I think Tim Duncan may have played for like 16 years. You guys gotta let me know. Yeah, but I just found it just like whoa, how dominant these guys. And, you hear this stuff about Michael Jordan retiring and resting. Yeah, Michael Jordan retired and rested. He quit on his team and went to go rest. And he came back rested. First of all, he didn't rest. He went to go play baseball. He went to go play a sport to where you're not even in basketball shape no more. It's a whole different sport. I guess you can say it's resting to a certain extent, right? Like I said, I didn't consider it a lazy sport when I was growing up. But now, back when you look at it now, compared to other sports, it is a lazy sport. On offense, you sit down. On defense, you stand around. Literally stand around. You could sit out there and basically a ball not even get hit to you for innings. For innings. You can go through 5 innings and no ball get thrown to you. I mean, no ball comes to you. Yeah. So I guess you could say he was resting in that sense. But when we talk about resting for that long period of time, it's not good. It's not good, folks. Why do you think a lot of these guys continue to train and all this stuff in the offseason? They even play basketball in the offseason. They want to go to some type of FIBA, Olympics, do all this stuff because they want to keep their body going. They want to keep going. Just how it is, folks. If you take that many years off, damn near 2 years off, you're coming back and playing against the greatest basketball players in the world. You don't get no advantage over get rest like that. Rest will be like, maybe you will miss like they do now. That's rest, folks. All this load managing, that's rest, folks. What Luka is doing now, that's rest. But I can guarantee you, he's still out there shooting the ball. He's probably not running. Something's wrong with his calf. But that's rest right there, load managing. Not sitting out, and retired. I mean, for real, are you serious? Nobody in their right mind thought Michael Jordan would ever win another championship after rest for 2 years. Nobody thought that. And he came back and he was shooting miserably from the field, if you want to be real. He was shooting in the low 40s. Yeah, he hit some game winners, had the double nickel, and things like that, but his field goal percentage had went way down. Just like when he came back to Washington. His field goal percentage was way down for a hot minute compared to what it used to be. No damn way he used to shoot in the low 40s. But, you know, as the season went on, it started to go up drastically. Yeah, so that's just incredible, right? Nobody thought he was going to come back, especially what he displayed when he came back in '95. When we looked at the '93 Michael Jordan, the '92 Michael Jordan, that was just unstoppable. We was watching Max. What's this guy called on YouTube? We got all these, player seasons. It's like damn near the whole damn season. It's crazy. And it was Michael Jordan's 91, 92 season. Oh yeah, they ended up playing the Trailblazers at the end. And God, this guy is just so, you watch all these games growing up, and you still can't even believe that you watched all these games. And Mike was just like so slithery, quick on the draw. I mean, basically everybody was just like defenseless because they couldn't do the things he was doing. I mean, he had a different damn move for every time he went to the damn cup. It was nuts. Even the big men, they were defenseless. Because if you try to defend him, it was just like, or beat him at the cup, he's doing some crazy move. And it wasn't really the moves that he was doing, in the 80s. The evolution of this guy's game is just sickening. The way he just uses his hands and his arms and his torso, and it's crazy. You feel defenseless out there because you don't know what he's going to do. You can't cut him off at the cup. You can't really come up on him. He's going to blow past you. He's going to kill you with the jumper. It's just crazy, folks, when you watch this stuff. The way Mike just torched people from every damn spot on the court. Some dudes be like, yeah, that's my spot. I got to get to my spot. I got to shoot over here. I got to do this to be able to do this move. Like, I mean, something was wrong with this guy. He was just like abusing the hell out of everybody. It was like, I don't know, man. But my wife asked me, she's like, who is better, Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant? I said, definitely Michael Jordan. I said, Kobe Bryant was the closest thing to Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant took his moves. But Kobe Bryant didn't have the defense like Michael Jordan. That's what I explained to him. You gotta understand, Kobe Bryant came or continued to play in an era going into the 2000s where, Mike could be a butthole to his teammates, but they were grown men. They would listen. They wanted to win. So Michael Jordan had that advantage over Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was dealing with a lot of young people that just want to have fun in the NBA. Especially when Shaq left, and he had that team right there. It weren't the same dudes. A lot of these dudes coming into the 2000s, they weren't the same guys, man. A lot of these guys just want to play off of fundamentals. I mean, off of athleticism and not fundamentals. And that's why a lot of these international players were able to come in and just do the damn thing. Because a lot of these cats, they just lack the fundamentals of the game. They were just living off of potential. To me, it was more, before it was more about fundamentals. That's what it was about. In the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, the 60s, it wasn't about no damn athleticism like that. And that's why people were just like wild away when they see Michael Jordan, because his great fundamentals and his athleticism was like second to none. Or Bobby Knight said that. He said he'd never seen nothing like that in his life. Nothing. He didn't even coach the guy. I mean, eventually he did in the Olympics, but I mean, that's high praise, man. For Bobby Knight to say something like that, I mean, maybe a lot of people don't know basketball, but for Bobby Knight to say something like that, it's just incredible. Amongst all these great players that was in the NBA, that came through the league and stuff like that, it was a lot, folks. He wasn't saying, yeah, he's got the potential. Not the potential. He said it was already here. He's the greatest player he ever seen. As far as fundamentals in athleticism. So yeah, I mean, again, when we talk about Mike coming back and winning in 3 straight, I mean, that just capped it off. It just made his legend even bigger. Because again, when you retired like that for 2 years, you can see it clearly affected Michael Jordan. He was not the same. You guys saw, I mean, most people who knew, we wasn't looking at 93 Michael Jordan, 92 Michael, it wasn't even close as far as his athleticism. He couldn't do the same things. And because, you know, he was already a great jump shooter, he had to rely on the jump shooting more than ever. And rely on that fadeaway more than ever. To me, that's why I just got to put Michael Jordan a greater shooter than Curry. I don't even think it's close. I don't even think it's close. We're talking about shooting the ball. See, most of these people only think about 3-point shooting. No, we're talking about Michael Jordan willing and dealing on the perimeter and hitting these crazy shots, folks. If you go watch these highlights, it's just like, again and again, how to get that shot off. How to get that shot off. I'm talking about on the perimeter, not just on the cup, under the cup. I'm talking about on the perimeter too. Yeah, what Curry does is just mind-blowing too. But no. To me, I'm not trying to, you know, be a butthole, but I don't even think it's close, folks. We talking about some of these shots that Michael Jordan took consistently. They were basically 3-pointers. They were right inside the 3-point line. You know, the turnaround fadeaway, off balance, up and unders. It's just nuts. The shots this guy took from the perimeter. With dudes all draped on you. I just don't think, you know, Curry and Durant take those kind of shots. Especially, you know, I've seen Curry take harder shots than Durant, because the thing with Curry, he's not tall like that, folks. He's not tall like Durant, so he just can't shoot over people. And a lot of times he has to shake people. Kevin Durant don't have to do that. Kevin Durant is a great shooter, but his difficult shots are nothing like Curry's, as far as, you know, a man defending him. And damn sure ain't what Michael Jordan was doing as far as the defense. Nope. You know, but, you know, Kevin Durant is there. I mean, he's the truth. You can't say he ain't, but I don't think he's a better shooter than Curry, and I damn sure don't think he's a better shooter than Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan can just the tough shots that he takes. If you ask Kevin Durant to take a quarter of Michael Jordan's tough shots going to the cup or on the perimeter, it just ain't gonna be there, folks. Especially if you told Kevin Durant to go back to the 90s with Patrick Ewing, Moses Malone. I mean, say Moses Malone, Hakeem Olajuwon, or the 80s or 90s. It don't matter. You know, all these great centers in the middle, and David Robinsons, and you know, the Dikembe Mutombos, and you know, all these great centers in the middle. Alonzo Mourning. People forget Alonzo Mourning was a shot blocker, guys. And Alonzo Mourning was yoked the hell up. You know, what I'm trying to say, Durant take those kind of shots over, you know, a lot of those big guys in the middle, and having a clutch in the air, you know, change his shot in the air. I just would like to see that, folks. Because the way Michael Jordan was going to the cup on these big men, it was just like he could change directions in mid-air as far as the way he wanted to lay the ball up. So the defender was, you know, playing him a certain way. He would just move his arm this way, move his hand this way, and just make that layup. It's just crazy how many points he scored over these big guys, these shot blockers, by the way he changed the movement of his hands. Because the guy had big hands. The ball was like, little in his hand. And because he had big hands, he really wasn't supposed to shoot good. You really ain't supposed to shoot good because you have those big hands. Like a center ain't supposed to, be shooting a high percentage. If you go to the perimeter, if you go, most of them when you go to the free throw line, they got real big hands. Michael Jordan had real big hands, so he wasn't really supposed to be a good to great shooter like that. But he ended up using that to his advantage. That's what was so crazy. He used all that to his advantage. Especially when he went to the cup. And I think, because he had those big hands, he was able to really extend the play. Especially on fadeaways. When he's fading away, you can see those guys just missing the damn ball every time. Because NBA players have long damn arms. But because he had real long arms, and because his hands were even longer, he was able to just, get a little bit more hang time or longer release on the ball with those hands. And the things he did at the cup, at the last second on big men, changing it up on them because of his hands. All these up and unders and just all these crazy moves. It was because of the footwork. It was because, he was slithery. It was because of a lot of stuff. But basically, to extend what he was doing, because these defenders were going up and they were doing what they were supposed to do on most guys. On most guys, that's a block. Or it's a missed shot. You can't make those kind of plays, folks. That he was making at the cup. These are the greatest, NBA players in the world at the time. So you can't make those kind of shots. But because of his hands, and shouts out to those other guys I just mentioned. They had things about them that made them special too, that a lot of players didn't have. When we look at Magic Johnson, 6'9" point guard. That's crazy. And you would think in an era like that, it was real defensive, they'd be ripping his pocket up and down the court. And what gets me is what was crazy. Like, this guy was basically money every other time he had the ball to shoot. He's shooting for the seasons. He's shooting 50%, 53%, 52%, 51%, grabbing you 7 rebounds, giving you, 11, 12, 13 assists, shooting 80+% from the line, giving you 2 steals, 1.8, 2, 3. This is crazy, folks. Yeah, Magic didn't score 25 a game, but being, 50%, that's crazy. Or more. So that basically means, he didn't take a lot of shots or score 25 points a game, but he made it matter when he did shoot the ball, when he did get the ball, when you're shooting at that percentage. And then when we talk about Wilt Chamberlain, where do you really even start? Could you imagine him playing in some eras and just being able to dunk? And then when you watch the guy play, what's he doing? They even say most of his shots, if you got to go back and look at it, the majority of his shots were jumpers and fadeaways and finesse shots. They weren't power shots. So yeah, he might have been bigger, and a lot of that stuff ain't to your advantage, folks. We done seen players that was taller than everybody else, and it didn't work out to their advantage. They did it. Just the energy. Being that big, you're going to use a lot of energy. Running up and down the court, that fast pace, grabbing all those rebounds, shooting the ball like that, getting all those blocks. The energy level from some of these guys is just, the guys I mentioned, is just incredible. Having those blocks, those assists, those points, those rebounds, that type of, that's crazy. So I'm gonna get off of here. I just, when we talk about LeBron James' longevity, it's just, to me, it's weak, it's whack. A great player, but his longevity was never dominance. when we look at longevity, like Kareem is the ultimate longevity guy. Points, rebounds, blocks. Kareem, he took a back seat to getting points. I mean, truly, guys like Michael Jordan, Kareem, and Wilt Chamberlain, it could have been out of reach for LeBron James as far as the points. Kareem, they end up getting worthy, and later on down the line, he had to let other guys start scoring so they could win. He didn't shoot all these threes. I mean, if some of this stuff, if he was just playing for stats, I don't think nobody would have broke that mark. If Wilt continued to put up the stats that he put up, I mean, it would have been out of reach for LeBron James. Same with Michael Jordan. If he didn't retire, at least 2 times, that scoring thing would have been out of reach for LeBron. And you guys got to think, what would he be good for? What would be his legacy? Right? Because in the big picture, when he came to LA and he was 3-6 in the finals, you're in 6 finals blowout losses on top of that, folks. None of those losses went to Game 7. When I say blowout losses, in most of the 4 quarters, it was over. He was getting blown out. This is where he was staying on the court stat padding, like he still does. And he was 3-6 when he went to LA. What was he still playing for? He wasn't a loser in the finals. He was a super team loser. Oh man, look at that super team, man. These dudes got drafted for the most part. Kareem was over there for years by himself. Ain't like he lost. He came to LA, lost, and then they drafted drafted Magic. He was over there missing the playoffs. I'm just saying, folks. What would he have? What would he have been looking forward to if those marks were out of reach because those guys kept playing or played consistently or didn't change their game to win? I mean, what would this? I mean, we already look at this guy like he's a super team building loser. We don't look at him like he won 4 championships, but he was defeated by a better team because the playing field was even. No. And maybe, oh yeah, he got like 2 rebound titles. He's got, 3 assist titles. He's got 3 scoring titles. We don't look at LeBron James like that, folks. And to me, it's really no excuse for you not to have, these statistical titles. At least this guy should have at least 5 of them. And that's just like, because how big he is and in the era that he played in. There's no excuse. At least when we look at Joker, a lot of these big guys in the past didn't have the luxury to do what Joker does. But as far as getting all these statistics at a high level, yes, they could win like a rebound title or a scoring title or something like that, but they didn't have the luxury of having all the points, all the assists, and stuff like that. They didn't have that luxury, folks. It was a team effort to win. It was positional basketball. But what I'm trying to say is, the stat padding that LeBron James did, Joker saying, watch this, I'm going to take it to another level. If this is what you guys look at for being great and not statistical titles, I'm going to take it to another level and show you that LeBron don't know nothing about stat padding. Nothing against Joker, but I'm just saying. He's saying that LeBron James played in a weak era, and this would have gave you 27, 7, and 7. Well, I'm going to give you, 28 to 30 points per game, plus 10 rebounds or more, and 9 to 10 assists. So LeBron James ain't did nothing with his 27, 7, and 7. Basically, when we look at the 7 rebounds, it's underwhelming for his position and his size. It's underwhelming. He should be getting 2 offensive rebounds a game alone if he's getting 8 defensive rebounds. That's 10. That's easy in his era. When we talk about the assist, it's good. It's not great or upper echelon. So yeah, the Joker is making a joke out of stats. Luka and Joker are making a fool out of athleticism. Like I tell you, folks, these guys aren't these great athletic guys that we've been told. Their athleticism done waned. It's gone. It's not like that no more. You're sitting around shooting threes. There's no defense, so you really don't have to use great athleticism. You know, Curry said, I want to be a greater shooter than Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, guys like that consistently shoot on the perimeter and shoot threes. Look at these other guys. They say, oh, I want to be like Dr. J. I want to be like Karl Malone. You know, I want to be like Hakeem. Nope. They say, oh, we all want to be like Curry too. No, when other guys want to be like other guys, that's what they said in the past. They practice on what these guys were great at. So, you know, it's a cop-out with these guys. That's why, like I said, these guys really have no great athleticism because there's no challenge at the cup. There's no challenge on the perimeter. There's no, you know, I'm not impressed by Ja Morant doing this. The same dunk he does every time, cock it back. Not like the Karl Malone, but that thing he does, there's really no creativity to it. Get in the dunk contest. Show us what you got. Anthony Edwards, show us what these guys will go down in history as a plumber from the G League pulling off a damn three-peat. He already done pulled off a back-to-back. This is how you're going to go out? This is how you already been going out? Where's Anthony Edwards? Ja Morant? Zion Williams? Where are they at? We're not going to stand for this. We don't look at Curry like he's this great athletic freak or a great athletic player, period. He's a shooter. He's a Reggie Miller. He's a Ray Allen. He's those type of guys. And probably the greatest at what he does. But don't tell me you're this great athletic player and it's not on display, folks. Don't try to tell me this is a great athletic era when it's not on display. Not denying. You think Joker will be doing the things that he does at the cup? On the Dikembe Mutombo? Elijah one? Hakeem? I just hit him. Morning? Even Shaq. Because he ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing but laying the ball up on these skinny three-point shooters with no damn athleticism. He ain't no high flyer. He ain't jumping over him. He ain't juking him. Dudes is just bouncing off of him like a damn video game or something. Same thing with Luka. Dudes is just bouncing off of him. He's just laughing. You think he gonna come down the lane like that and mosey down the lane? On a small forward back then? A power forward? Or a great center? And these dudes is barely jumping off the floor. These guys would get destroyed. I mean, damn, Michael Jordan had to do all these clutches, changing angles and double clutching in the air, doing all this stuff just to get a shot off. These dudes is basically getting shots off by just shooting without clutching or doing nothing fancy, not being high fly, nothing. It's ridiculous. And I'm not trying to hate on them. I'm telling you about this fake, great athletic era. It's fake. It's fake, folks. Tell me what you think.